What is pussy poppin', you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew,
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin' the Tea, where we want Ariane.
where we sip the tea and our guests spill
Feel that.
tea.
I wasn't vibing my voice today, girlfriend. Hi,
Hi,
Glitty.
mommy. Hi, mama. How are you?
All right, I'm gonna see how we go if we put them on the ground and she doesn't pants. I'm really excited for today's guest, darling. If we can see this book, let's find it. Comparisonitis, Melissa Ambrosini. Little backgrounds. She has an arc in her journey from an actress to somewhat of, a lifestyle expert in being an author, podcaster, new mother. Melissa, my darling, welcome to Sipping the Tea. Are you ready, girl? Let's wake up. Let's go.
I am ready, except I forgot my tea.
You really needed that tea too.
Whoop. Wait, what time is it there right now?
It's actually 6 a.m. in Australia.
Ooh, girl. Yes. So we're going to definitely make sure we keep this conversation up and vibrant because I know that's very early. With no further ado, so 2020, girl, was a very interesting year for everybody across the world. But here we like to focus on the positive. So when you look back at 2020, what would you say is one takeaway that you have in a positive aspect with your career and with yourself personally?
I think personally, a big thing that I took away from 2020 was how many unnecessary things I was saying yes to. And 2020 got us really clear on what's really important and what's not important. And I realized that I was saying yes to so many little things that really didn't fulfill me and I didn't need to be doing. It's almost like it cleared out a lot of the clutter in my life, in my personal life. So that's something I got out of it personally, which I'm really grateful for. And it also really highlighted to me the importance of our relationships. At the end of the day, if we don't have beautiful relationships, then we can feel really lonely and that can affect our mental health, which is what I talk about a lot in the book. But for me, it just got really clear on the importance of our relationships. And then career wise, it did affect my career because I am a speaker. So I would travel all around the world speaking on different stages. So it did affect that aspect of my career, but it didn't affect the podcasting aspect because I can do that from home and writing books, which I can also do from home. But it did. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
So don't you worry, continue.
And, career wise, again, it kind of showed me, it made me get really clear on what's important in my career, what I want to do. Again, I kind of cleared out the clutter in all areas of my life. I did a little stock take. What's my next career move? We were allowed to, we had this space in 2020 where we could think, where we could get really clear on what's the next move, what really lights us up, what is our purpose. And so for me, that's what happened. I got clear on what's my next move in my career. Where do I want to go with my podcast? What's my next books? Things like that. So I'm really excited for what's to come.
Yes.
One big thing that happened in 2020 to go into 2021, you became a mommy in all of
I
this chaos.
did.
So,
I
I mean, that gives you,
did.
in all of this chaos, you became a mommy, which is
Exactly.
must have been incredibly like monumentous, but also like the world and the vibe of the world changing at the same time. Did that give you cause for pause in terms of, my God, becoming a mom, like the world is like resetting socially, racially? Like, how did that sit with you, you know, through that journey? Because I feel like that's a big damn thing that happened.
Oh my goodness. And especially for me, because as you know, Matt, from reading the book, it took us 18 months to get pregnant. And so that was a really long and stressful and hard journey for me. And so during 2020, our dream came true. So whilst the world is around us kind of going a bit chaotic, one of our biggest dreams came true, which was so beautiful. I've got goosebumps just even thinking about it. You know, one of the best things the best thing that's ever happened to us came true in that time. And so I want to encourage people to not lose hope, like whether it's with conceiving or whatever your dreams are, like don't you lose hope. And I think we get fixated on, we want things now. You know, I certainly wanted that to happen that first time, but it didn't for my journey. It took me, you know, that time, and the growth that I had in those 18 months for me personally was huge. I became a better version of myself through all of that. And I'm now a better mum because of it. So, you know, everything happens for a reason, which is what I talk about in the book. And we need to stay in our own lane. I think with social media, which is an incredible platform, it's amazing. We need to remember that, you know, what Sarah's doing over there and what Amanda's doing over there is irrelevant to our journey. We need to put on our little horse blinkers and stay in our own lane, run our own race, whether that's with our career, with relationships, with our health. You know, the more we look and compare ourselves to everyone else outside of ourselves, the more that is going to affect our mental health in a negative way. So just stay in your own lane. And that's what I had to remember, especially on our conception journey.
That's, girl, you didn't hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's which, you know, I definitely, we're going to dive deeper into comparison. But before we go into that, let's backtrack a little bit, because, you know, we're going to talk about the book, and we've talked about motherhood and personal development. But let's backtrack a little bit and get to know more about Melissa. So give us like a small, for our audience who, you know, are getting familiar with you, a little bit about your journey and how you went from being a performer to now podcasting and entrepreneurship. You know, girl, spill the tea.
Well, I know we don't have 17 hours because that's how long the story could take.
Girl, short and sweet, short and
Short
sweet.
and sweet, short and sweet, nutshell. So, yes, I was a professional dancer. I danced at the Moulin Rouge in Paris, and I did acting and yeah, exactly. I did TV presenting and a bit of modeling, and I started all of that. Like I started dancing when I was 3 years old, so that was my life, and that also meant that I was being compared to other people from a very young age. I mean, I was in an industry where they openly compare you to other people constantly.
Welcome to
So
my girl. That's entertainment.
exactly. And so I, you know, did that professionally. And then in 2010, I was burning the candle at both ends, and I ended up in hospital with my health taken away from me. So I was very, very sick physically. I had a whole host of health issues, but also I was dealing with mental health issues. So anxiety, I had depression, I was dealing with panic attacks, and I was in a very, very unhappy place and unwell place. And that's what transformed my whole life. That was the catalyst that changed my whole life. So from there, I realized that I needed to get healthy and happy again, and I had no idea how to do that. I had no idea. And I realized that the work that I was doing was no longer lighting me up. The relationships that I had were very toxic. I was trashing my body with partying and drinking and junk food, and surrounding myself with very unhealthy relationships, and flogging my body at the gym and not sleeping. You know, I had that mentality that, oh, who needs to sleep? I can just party, you know? And so I was literally burning the candle at both ends. And then in 2010, the universe was like, if you don't stop and slow down, I'm going to have to make you. And I ended up in hospital, very, very sick. And I had a light bulb moment that I needed to sort my life out. And I had this like voice inside me that said, if you get happy and healthy again, you will live a life beyond your wildest dreams. And I had no idea how to do it, but I just put one foot in front of the other and I made it happen. I went and studied nutrition. I studied life coaching. I studied meditation teacher training, yoga teacher training, acuenergetics, which is energy healing work. And I started this thing called a blog back then. And I began sharing what I was learning. This was in 2010. I shared what I was
Yeah.
learning on my blog, and people were coming up to me in the street saying, I thought I was the only one that dealt with a loud inner critic. I thought I was the only one that struggled with body image. And I was like, no, 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 you are not the only one. And from there, I began running workshops and began being booked as a motivational speaker. I was like, what even is that? And started my podcast, interviewing experts from all over the world. Got my first book deal, and continued speaking and creating programs and meditations and online courses to help people be the best version of themselves. And here I am, still doing the work that I absolutely love. And it's all just snowballed from there.
Well,
It sure has. I mean, the fact that you had that aha moment in such deep darkness and were able to just do that rhythm. I always believe, and I love that you said it, I always believe if you can pick yourself up and just slowly walk one foot in front of the other, you don't need to know the direction. If you can just do that process, and I love that you said that, and you went through some heavy, heavy shit. So that being said, I feel like your journey, this book is the culmination of that life that you've lived, and that comparison of thinking this is what I need to do, or this is what I need to be successful, to be happy, to be all the things that we think we are. So I want you to break down comparisonitis in terms of, at its core level, what does it mean, and what can it, what can reading this book do for our viewers and our listeners? Now, I know what it can do because I read it a few times, and Ariane's looked over it. So I want you to have the platform to be able to share why this is important. I mean, when Jay Shetty gives you, let's get in on this. Hey, where you at? When Jay Shetty gives you the front of your book, honey, you're doing something right. So give it to us, girl.
yeah.
Yeah. So comparisonitis is when we compare ourselves to someone else in a toxic and unhealthy way, and we make it mean something about us. Like we're not good enough. We're not smart enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not successful enough. We're not doing enough. So that's what comparisonitis is. And everyone compares. If anyone tells you that they don't, they're not telling you the truth. And the thing is like there is healthy comparison. And what I talk about in the book is you can use comparison to inspire and motivate you. So for me, I looked at these New York Times bestselling authors, and when I used to get comparisonitis, I now look at them and I feel inspired by them. I feel motivated by them. If someone is at the gym running on the treadmill next to you, like double your speed and double your incline, you can look at them and go, they're going faster than me. Maybe I could go faster, and you could run faster, then jump off and feel really proud of yourself for achieving something that you didn't actually know that you could do physically, and you did it. So you can use comparison in a healthy way for motivation and inspiration. But because of social media, a lot of us aren't using comparison in a healthy way. We're using it in a very unhealthy way, which is leading to anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and even suicidal thoughts, or suicide, which is horrible. And one of the motivators behind writing this book was a couple of years ago, I lost one of my girlfriends to suicide, and she had battled with comparison since she was 15 years old. And I'm telling you, this girl was beautiful, she was smart, and she was incredibly talented. And it's still, it got to her. It really did get to her. And the younger generations, they need this information and they need us to teach them about comparisonitis, because if we can teach them, then they can grow up and not feel like they have to compare themselves to other people and the other kids. And I feel grateful that we didn't grow up with smartphones and social media.
I mean, I had
Needs,
a sidekick, but that was about, it was
I
AIM
mean,
going
you
on
think
diet.
about it, that's a point, Melissa, that the only comparison I can remember, and I come at it from being like bullied about being homosexual, was being in a school playground with 30 people. Now, I got a big mouth. I can respond back. I handled my shit wisely. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But the people these days, it's the millions. It's unbelievably scares the shit out of me to think about what children these days, young women, young men go through. So I'm like, this book it's presented in a really simple context. It's not overly wordy, it's not overly kind of conceptualized, that people can like literally apply this to their life. And I think that's something that I love about it. It's really important that it's not like we stigmatize this as a disease and this. It's like this is something that, you said it, everybody goes through. Ariane, both beautiful women here, and I think we always compare ourselves to things. It's not an easy route.
I've definitely gotten a lot better, because I think a big thing to, note as well is a lot of things that we see on social media. It's, everyone's living their best, not everyone, but there's a lot of people living their best lie and not their best
Mhm.
life. So then you're also going down a rabbit hole of comparison where you think that you should be this at this age, all this. And it's like, well, the person's taking a photo of this house of their friend's house, or their friend's car, and you're thinking you should have that. And it's like, well, they don't even have that themselves, and they're putting
Yeah,
on an image. So I mean, there's a lot of things I feel like to dive deep, but I love, Melissa, how you said there is such thing as healthy comparison, because I do think
that's
you should
cool.
look at other people and be like, wow, this person achieved this. If they're capable of doing this, you know what, maybe I could try that. And like you said, the perfect example is the running example. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, let me maybe push myself, because I might be capable of giving it just a 10 more percent than I was giving. So I love, how you've broken down things. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just got to make sure that we are looking at it for ourselves so that we can help this younger generation so that they don't suffer from it.
So
Mm.
true. Which, speaking of, like, social media and kind of the world we're in with such positive and negatives, I mean, people like yourself, when they do things like this, are trying to leave a legacy. So what is a legacy that you're trying to leave on this earth, before, because our time all comes to this point. So what is your legacy?
When I think about my baby girl, what I want her to say about me when I've passed on, I want her to kind of say, my mum was a trailblazer. My mum inspired people to unlock their full potential and be the best version of themselves. And I want her to feel really proud of, getting emotional just like thinking about it.
I was like, my hair something out too, girl.
Yeah, I want her to say that. I want her to say, like, my mom helped people. My mom inspired people to unlock their full potential and be the best version of themselves. And everyone's best version of themselves is different and we can't compare, but we just have to do what is our best in every moment.
So
I love that, and I agree with that. It's like, do you feel, and this is something that's going a little off script. Do you feel like accepting comparisonitis, and I love that, and using it in that positive, is something that ever goes away? Is something that you can find that balance to use it in the positive, but sometimes you might dip and something, because I feel like as I've gotten older, it's always been there, and I still sometimes scrolling, looking, going, ugh, like, what is this person doing this for? And I work 10 times as hard. I don't understand. But in the same sense, do you feel like that it's with you all the time in a certain capacity? It doesn't have to be the negative capacity if you find the right spot. Is it something that you can like wipe off the board, or is it always something to just sit with it pops its head up every now and then.
I think, if you go back to when we were living in caves, cavemen, we would have compared back then. Like it's part of human biology to compare. Even in the workplace, you would walk into a new work environment and you would kind of look around and see how are people interacting with the boss. Like, you would be comparing, oh, well, they were 2 minutes late and the boss, didn't say anything. And like, maybe I can be 2 minutes yet late, like you would look around and kind of scope out your environment. So I do think it is always there. If we go back all those years, we compared our behaviors and things like that. But you can get to a place where you use it as inspiration. You use it to propel you forward and to inspire and motivate you. And that's what I want everyone to get to when they close that book and they finish it. I want them to go, okay, I now have tools to move through comparisonitis when it comes up. And I know exactly how to use it as inspiration and motivation instead of beating myself up and tearing myself down.
I love that. Can you just touch on those tools quickly, the ACEs? Because I think if people can pick this up, please do. But if you can quickly run through ACEs for us, because that is the easiest method for people to just get what we're talking about.
Yes. So the ACEs technique is a little 4-step acronym that I created basically to help myself move through comparisonitis. And I started sharing it with my friends and my clients, and they were like, you have to write a book about this.
Okay.
And I am all for quick steps. I want to help people bust through things quickly. We don't want to sit in suffering. We don't want to sit and linger in negative self-talk. So the 4-step technique, the first letter A stands for awareness. We need to become aware of where and when we compare. So what are your triggers? Is it social media? Is it someone in your family? Is it a friend? Like, where do you compare yourself? And is it around your body image? Is it around your career? Is it around material things? Like, have a little conversation with yourself and maybe write it down. Like, I notice that I compare a lot on social media and it's around, fitness models or whatever it is, and just get really clear. So awareness is the first step to any transformation. The next one, C, stands for choosing a different path. So instead of choosing to go down the route of comparisonitis, we're going to go the other way and we are going to choose inspiration and motivation. So what is it about that fit model that makes you feel less about yourself? Well, she can do all of these burpees and she can do yoga poses with her leg around her head, whatever it is. And she looks healthy and glowing, her skin glows. So get really clear on what it is that you're comparing about and then use it as motivation. Well, if she can do that yoga pose, then I can get there too. And if she can do that many burpees, I can get there too. If she has glowing, beautiful, glossy skin, I can have that too. I just need to put some action steps in place, one foot in front of the other to get there. And then the third step, E, stands for eliminate. So sometimes when we are really struggling with something mentally, if we're really struggling with comparisonitis, a good thing to do is just to eliminate that trigger. So maybe you just want to jump off social media for a couple of days. I'm not saying you have to spiritually bypass. I'm not saying you have to delete it completely, but it's like a wound. If you keep picking a scab, it's going to keep bleeding. So we want to just give it a couple of days maybe to heal. Right. And if you can't do that, maybe you can exit the situation. So say you're sitting around a dinner table and all your friends are talking about their new partner and their new relationships and dating and the apps and all these things. And you've just had a breakup and it's really triggering you to compare yourself. Just get up and go to the bathroom and just take a minute. And then if you can't do that, you can exhale and take a deep breath. So when my best friends were falling pregnant and I wasn't, I couldn't eliminate them and I couldn't exit the situation. So I just took a deep breath and I reminded myself that Everything's unfolding the way it's supposed to for me in the right time. So that's the third step, E. And then S stands for shifting our state. So when we compare, we all know what that feels like. It feels gross. It feels really gross when we are scrolling social media and we are comparing ourselves. It doesn't feel good. And so what we want to do is we want to shift that energy. Get up, jump up and down, shake it out, dance, do some burpees, do some star jumps, dive in the ocean, splash your face with water. Just do whatever you need to do to shift your energy. I like just going outside in nature and taking a few deep breaths. So that is my 4-step technique. You follow that whenever you are suffering from comparisonitis, and you will quickly feel ace again. So that's why it's called the ACEs technique, because when you're suffering from comparisonitis, you don't feel ace, you feel crap. But if you do that 4 steps, you will feel ace very quickly.
Woo! Thank you, girl. I mean, on that note, I mean, I feel like that is such a positive way to get ready to close the chat, because I mean, it's always great if someone can tell you the steps on how to do things and really dive deep instead of just doing the surface level. So I like that a lot. Before we completely close out, though, we'll do a few quick rapid fires. And
keep them fun and light, and
so as quick as you can, girl.
I love rapid fire.
Okay.
Oh, let's see it. Really? All right. She's challenged herself. She loves rapid fire.
Oh dear.
Here we go.
Who do you call on a bad day?
My best friend, Natalie.
Boom.
Netflix and chill, or going to the beach?
Oh, beach.
Okay.
I picked 2 things that I knew, home and thing. I was like, let me try to trip you up.
Yeah. Well, it depends what the weather's doing. If the weather's bad, then staying at home. But if the weather's good, going to the beach.
Sure.
Love that. What is one thing you could work on with yourself?
Right now, remembering in my parenting journey with my new baby, not to compare to other mamas, and to use their success as inspiration, practicing what I preach, and reading my own book, and just remembering that I'm on my own parenting journey and I can't compare myself to all my friends and their journeys.
I think that's the perfect way to exit out, because you're living in your truth, Melissa, and I think that you can do nothing but that. And you're a fabulous human being, my love. Fabulous.
Yes. So for everyone out there who's either watching or listening, please let everyone know where they can follow you at, where they can listen to your podcast, as well as get your book, Comparisonitis. Spill the tea, girl.
So come to melissaambrosini.com. You can get my books and everything there. My podcast is called The Melissa Ambrosini Show, and I am Melissa Ambrosini on Instagram. And I would absolutely love everyone who's watching this, come and send me a DM. I check all my DMs, and tell me what you got out of this episode. I would absolutely love to hear what you take away from this.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, we got you, girl. This is cool.
Matt, where can everybody follow you at?
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983, and Ariane, my love.
You all beautiful humans can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew. Of course, follow Sippin the Tea TV show on Instagram, Sippin the Tea TV1 on Twitter. If you are watching this and you loved it, please share it, subscribe, like, and for all of our audio people, you can stream us on all digital platforms. But until next time, we will catch you at the same time, same place of another episode of Sippin the Tea TV show.
Oh, cheers it out.